I'm Elena, and I'll never forget last Christmas. My family made up a story to keep me away from the dinner. I was the only one excluded. They were all there, laughing, celebrating, acting like I didn't exist. Why? Because I work in climate control. But the irony? I was funding my sister's university fees. The same sister too embarrassed to acknowledge me. The same family happy to take my money but not have me at their table. So I made a choice. A choice that changed everything. The buzzing sign of my climate control business glowed as I closed up for the night. The crisp Denver air went through my jacket, but I felt a sense of purpose. Christmas was approaching, and for once, I didn't have to stress about work orders. I had everything organized, bonuses ready for my team, and had even chosen a good bottle of cider to bring to the feast. As I got into my SUV, my phone rang. It was my mother. I smiled, expecting her usual call about which dessert to bring. But when I answered, her voice made me uneasy. "Elena's dear, I wanted to discuss Christmas," she said. Something was off. Mom was usually direct, but now she sounded unsure, like she was about to say something unpleasant. "Sure, what is it?" I replied, starting the engine. There was a pause. "We think it would be best if you didn't come to the feast this year." I nearly drove into the curb. "Wait, what?" My grip on the wheel tightened. "What do you mean skip the feast? We always celebrate together." Mom sighed softly, the way she did when about to deliver some nonsense. "Well, this year we're having a more formal gathering. Serena's partner is bringing their parents, and we thought it might be better if it was just immediate family." I scoffed, feeling a pang of hurt. "I am family, Mom." "Of course you are, sweetheart," she said quickly, her voice too sweet. "It's just, you know how professional these families can be. It's important for Serena to make a good impression." And there it was. The real message hit me hard. My job, my life, wasn't good enough. So what, Mom? Because I don't have a fancy job, I'm not good enough to be there. My voice rose, anger simmering. "Elena, don't make this about you." I laughed without humor. "Oh, I see. So, it's not about me. It's about making sure Serena isn't ashamed of her blue-collar sister, right?" She didn't answer. That silence said enough. "I can't believe this," I muttered. "Elena, it's just one dinner. We'll make it up to you. Maybe a family brunch next week," she offered, as if that would fix things. I hung up. I sat there, gripping the wheel, my breathing shallow. One dinner. One dinner after years of helping Serena, of paying her tuition, of making sure she never had to worry. And now I wasn't good enough to be in the same room as her partner's family? My phone vibrated again. A text from my cousin Genevieve. "I need to tell you something. It's about Christmas." I hesitated before opening the message. "I overheard Mom and Serena talking the other day. Serena said she didn't want you there because she was afraid it would make her look bad in front of Damien's parents," she said, and I quote, "I don't want them to think we come from a working-class background." I read the message twice, feeling sick. My own sister, whose education I had been funding for years, was ashamed of me. Ashamed of my work. Ashamed of the life I built. I wanted to throw my phone, but I just sat there, gripping it tightly. I should have seen the signs. The way she never invited me to her college events. The way she changed the subject when her friends asked what I did. The way she never introduced me to her partner, even though they had been together for almost a year. I had ignored it, telling myself I was being paranoid. But this was undeniable. Christmas Day came, and for the first time, I spent it alone. I tried to distract myself, went for a drive, stopped at a diner, even called some friends, but nothing helped. That evening, I checked social media. There they were, smiling family photos, the perfect dinner table, Serena in a nice dress, beaming next to Damien, his parents looking equally polished. And I was nowhere to be seen. That was the moment something in me changed. If I wasn't good enough to sit at their table, then my money wasn't good enough for Serena's tuition. So I made a decision. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter. It wasn't exactly relief, more like clarity. I made my coffee, sat at the kitchen table, and opened my laptop. Logging into the university's payment system was routine. I knew Serena's password better than my own. Due date 2 weeks. Balance, $21,500. I stared at the number, my fingers on the trackpad. I had paid for every semester, never hesitating. But this time my cursor moved to remove payment method. A pop-up appeared. Are you sure you want to remove this account as a payer? This action cannot be undone. I clicked yes without a second thought. The moment my laptop closed, my phone buzzed. My mother. I let it ring. Then it rang again and again. By the fourth call, I sighed and answered, already bracing myself. Elena. Mom's voice was sharp, like she had been arguing before I even picked up. What are you doing? I took a slow sip of my coffee. Good morning to you too, Mom. Don't play games with me, she snapped. Serena just called, hysterical, saying you cut off her tuition payment. Tell me that's not true. Oh, it's true, I said simply. Silence, then a sharp intake of breath. Elena, how could you be so cruel? Cruel. I laughed, a short, bitter sound. That's an interesting word considering she's the one who got me uninvited from Christmas because she was embarrassed by me. She was just trying to make a good impression on Damien's family, Mom argued, her tone shifting into that guilt-tripping mode she always used. You know how these professional families can be. She's young. She doesn't think things through. She's 24, Mom. She knows exactly what she's doing. Another pause. Then, you promised you'd support her through school, Elena. No, I corrected, my grip tightening on my mug. I promised to help my sister, not someone who treats me like I'm disposable. She didn't mean it that way. She meant it exactly that way. Mom sighed. You're overreacting. Family makes sacrifices for each other. That's just what we do. I swallowed back a bitter laugh. Funny how family only applies when I'm the one giving. When it's my turn to expect some basic respect, suddenly I'm asking too much. She needs this, Elena. So did I. Mom was silent. For once, she didn't have an immediate response. No lines about what's best for the family or how Serena's future depended on me. I let the silence linger before speaking again, voice steady. I'm done, Mom. I mean it. I've spent years paying for her education, covering every cost, making sure she never had to worry. And the one time I needed her to just acknowledge me, she chose to erase me instead. Mom exhaled, exasperated. You're being so dramatic. I think we're done here, I said, ignoring the sting in my chest. Elena, wait. I hung up. For a long moment, I sat there, my pulse racing. I had done it. I should have felt guilty. Maybe a part of me did, but it was so small, buried under years of resentment. Instead, I felt something else, something close to satisfaction. I sat in the dim light of my living room, the city sounds barely reaching through the windows. The coffee on the table was cold, but I didn't move. My mind was replaying years of memories. Serena had been ashamed of me for a long time. I just hadn't wanted to admit it. The signs had always been there. I remembered last Yule when she had a big party for her law school friends. I found out about it through an Instagram post, her smiling face front and center with a caption about celebrating success with the best people. I hadn't been invited. When I confronted her, she gave me some excuse about how it was a small thing. I let it go. Then there was the time I visited her on campus. I was in the area for a job and thought I'd stop by, take her to dinner. When she saw me walking toward her dorm, her eyes darted around like she was afraid someone would see me. She barely let me inside, rushing through small talk before making up some excuse about a study group. And the introductions. Whenever I ran into her friends, she never said, "This is my sister, Elena." It was always just, "Oh, this is family." Like my identity was something to hide. I had told myself it wasn't intentional, that she was just distracted, busy young. But she had been embarrassed by me all along. The realization burned, a slow anger that wasn't just about her, but about me too. For years I had let this happen. I had let her take from me, let her diminish me, because I thought family meant something. But family shouldn't be conditional, and love shouldn't have fine print. I turned to my laptop. It was almost muscle memory, logging into the university's payment portal, checking the due dates. But this time the screen felt different. Next semester's tuition, $21,500 due in 2 weeks. I stared at the number, my stomach twisting. How many late nights had I worked to make sure that money was there? How many vacations had I skipped? How many times had I put her needs before my own? And for what? So she could pretend I didn't exist when it was inconvenient? No. I grabbed my phone and called the university's financial office. A polite voice answered. I need to remove myself as the payer on an account, I said, my voice steady. There was a pause. Are you sure? This will impact the student's enrollment status. I closed my eyes and took a slow breath. I had spent years being sure of things that didn't deserve it, but this, I'm sure. The process took less than 5 minutes. I set my phone down and exhaled, waiting for guilt. It didn't come. Instead, I felt a strange relief. For the first time in years, I wasn't carrying someone else's burden. But I knew this was just the beginning. And when Serena found out, she would lose it. The first call came less than 24 hours later. I was having my morning coffee when my phone buzzed. Serena. I let it ring. It rang again and again, then a fourth time. I exhaled slowly. I wasn't ready for this conversation. Actually, I didn't owe her this conversation. The buzzing stopped, and a voicemail notification popped up. Against my better judgment, I pressed play. Elena, what the hell? I just got an email from the university saying my tuition payment was declined. This has to be a mistake. Call me back. Her voice was shrill, panicked. I set my phone down, taking another sip of coffee. Let her deal with it. Another call, then another, then a text. Elena, if you don't fix this, I won't be able to enroll next semester. You can't do this to me. I typed a response, not my problem. But before sending, I stopped. What was the point? She would never understand. No text from me was going to make her suddenly see the years of effort I had put into making her life easier. She only saw what she lost, not what she had been given. I deleted the message and silenced my phone because I knew what was coming next. Serena wasn't the kind of person who accepted consequences quietly. When she realized I wasn't responding, she turned to the next best thing, Damien. She showed up at his apartment, a mess, eyes wide with panic. He had barely opened the door before she was pushing past him, pacing across his living room. I can't believe this, she breathed, gripping her head. Elena cut me off just like that. No warning, no explanation, nothing. Damien frowned, shutting the door. Wait, Elena? Your sister Elena. Yes, she snapped. I just got the email. My tuition payment didn't go through. I tried calling her, but she won't answer. Damien sat down confused. I thought your parents were paying for school. Serena froze. For the first time, she didn't have a lie ready. She never told him I was the one paying. Well, they help, but Elena was covering most of it, she muttered, avoiding his gaze. Damien's brow furrowed. Most of it? How much? She laughed nervously. I don't know. Some payments here and there. Serena. His voice was sharp. How much? She swallowed. All of it. His expression darkened. So let me get this straight. Your sister has been paying for your college this entire time, and you let me believe your parents were covering it. She waved a hand. It's not a big deal. Damien cut her off. And wasn't Elena not invited to Christmas? What was that about? Serena's face flushed. That was different. How? She opened her mouth, but no words came out. And that's when Damien understood. The sister who's been paying for your entire education wasn't good enough to sit at the dinner table with your partner's family? His voice was calm, but there was an edge to it. Serena tried to explain. You don't get it, Damien. It was about appearances, about making a good impression. It's not that I don't appreciate what Elena has done, but she doesn't understand the world I'm trying to be a part of. Damien shook his head. You mean the world where you lie about where you come from, the world where the people who actually help you aren't good enough to acknowledge? Her throat tightened. Wow. It was the only thing he said before grabbing his keys. Serena blinked. Wait, where are you going? Damien looked at her like he was seeing her differently. I need space. Her stomach dropped. You're breaking up with me over this? I can't be with someone who lies this easily, he said. The words hit her hard. For the first time, Serena felt something crack. She turned to the door, hoping he would stop her. He didn't. The next morning, she woke up to something worse. She had barely slept, eyes swollen, her phone clutched in her hands, waiting for a message from Damien that never came. But there was another notification. An email, final warning, tuition payment past due. She sat up, heart pounding. Dear Miss Serena Calloway, this is your final notice regarding your outstanding tuition balance. If payment is not received within 48 hours, you will be unenrolled from your courses. Sincerely, University Finance Office. Serena's stomach dropped. This wasn't happening. She scrambled out of bed, shaking as she checked her student portal. The balance was there. Her mind raced. A loan. She could apply for a student loan. She pulled up the application, typing in her parents' information, knowing she needed them as co-signers. Denied. Bad credit. Too much debt. She tried again, using a different lender. Denied. Her hands clenched. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. She picked up her phone, scrolling to Damien's name. She hesitated, then called. Voicemail. She called again. Voicemail. Tears burned as she moved to the next contact. Elena. Her finger hovered over the dial button. But when she pressed it, the screen flashed. User has blocked you. She was out of options. For the first time, Serena realized how alone she was. So Serena did what she always did. She lashed out. I was in a staff meeting when the door to my office slammed open. The room went silent. Everyone turned toward the entrance, and there she was. Serena stood in the doorway, a mess, eyes red, breath heaving. She looked furious. You ruined my life, she shrieked. I set my things down. Here we go. No, I said, keeping my voice steady. I stopped paying for it. You ruined it yourself. A hush fell over the office. My team paused. Some clients in the waiting area exchanged glances, but Serena didn't care. She was here to make me suffer. You abandoned me, she spat, stepping inside. You left me with nothing. How could you do this to your own sister? I crossed my arms, leaning against my desk. That's funny. I don't remember you calling me your sister when you were lying to your boyfriend about where your tuition money came from. Her jaw tightened. That's different. Is it? I tilted my head. Because it seems you only acknowledge me when you need something. Her eyes darted around as if searching for support. No one offered it. So she turned to plan B, lifting her chin. She let her voice rise. She abandoned her own family. She's selfish. She only cares about herself. Silence. She's not who you all think she is. The weight of her words hung, but there was no reaction, no sympathy, no outrage, just disapproval from people who had seen what kind of person she was. Then my senior employee, Harold, stepped forward. Ma'am, he said, his voice calm but firm. You need to leave. Serena whirled on him. Excuse me, ma'am? Do you know who you're talking to? Harold was a big man, built from years of working with equipment. His voice was low and steady, with a warning in it. Serena faltered. I don't care. Well, you should, Harold said, stepping closer. Because this is my boss. This is the woman who pays my salary, who treats me with respect, and who has never given me a reason to doubt her. And you're not going to come in here and disrespect her in front of her employees. His words hung, heavy and final. Serena looked around again, searching for any support. There was none. Just the unwavering stares of people who had seen her for what she was. Defeated, she turned and stormed out, slamming the door. The silence was thick, broken only by the hum of the climate control systems. Then my team went back to work. No one offered comfort. No one made a show of sympathy. They acknowledged what happened and moved on. And in that moment, I realized something. I had built a family that valued me, respected me, and believed in me. A family I had chosen. The next few weeks were a blur. Serena's social media campaign fizzled. People saw through her act. The pity dried up. The likes and comments dwindled. And then silence. She tried calling a few more times, but I didn't answer. The texts she sent were desperate. I deleted them all. Then one day they stopped. The university sent a notification. Serena Calloway was no longer enrolled. The weight lifted. It wasn't immediate. There were moments when guilt tried to creep in, whispering doubts. But I pushed them away. I had done the right thing. I had chosen myself. And for the first time, it felt good. Before we finish, let me leave you with something to think about. Life teaches us hard lessons, especially about family. We're raised to believe that family is everything. But what happens when that loyalty is one-sided? When your sacrifices are expected but never appreciated? Walking away from a toxic family dynamic doesn't mean you don't love them. It means you're choosing yourself. And that's something to be proud of. If you take one thing from my story, it's this: your worth isn't measured by what you do for others. You are not an ATM. You deserve respect, even from family. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you set boundaries with family? Have you walked away from a draining situation? Let me know in the comments. I read them all. And if this story resonated, drop a 1 in the comments or tell me where you're watching from. If you didn't like it, tell me why. I want your thoughts. Subscribe so you don't miss the next story. Trust me, we have more to tell. Thanks for watching, and remember, choosing yourself is never wrong. See you in the next one.